accident because I went to do a commerce degree, and they had a small kind of, it was at Lincoln University, so it's a rural agricultural university, but they had a few guys, kind of a strong film community that were making these short films on the weekend, and I kind of got into filmmaking and playing around with those guys and forgot all about commerce. It was a real heartbreaker to mum and dad that I was there doing property, I was there to make big money. Well, it was cool. I got on set and it was guerrilla filmmaking with a bunch of Lebanese guys from West Sydney, and that was like a cult following. That show was huge over there, and the guys that I went and moved in with were just in awe that I was going to be working on the Fat Pizza film, because it was a big ratings win of the TV show. And but I had this two-bit agent that had told me I'd scored one of the lead roles. The bad part of the story was this agency, they were a bit of a two-bit agency. I mean, they took me on and I had no credentials. They were liquidated, and all the money that I was due to be paid on that job had gone to the liquidators. I just paid for this massive portfolio with them, got all the photos done, and to this day I've never trusted ever getting new headshots, because I had such a bad experience the first time. I think I outlaid, it was almost $500 on all these headshots and things, and they're all gone. I turned up to get my money on a Monday morning, and there were liquidators in the office, and never ever heard from, that nice old lady that said she'd look after me in Sydney. Never heard from her. So I then thought I'd better go and train. So yeah, I went and studied some acting at a place called Reactor at Fox Studios, and the plan from that was then to go on to NIDA, but I got cast in a thing back in Wellington, so cruised back over for that. It all happened by accident, because I'd just come over. I've been in Australia almost 2 years, and I just wanted to see my mum and dad, and it turns out one of my mates was flying the mail plane between Christchurch, Wellington and Auckland, like for New Zealand Post, and I was like, I was only planning on being in Christchurch, and when I got some mates in Wellington, I'll come up in the plane. So I stowed away in the back of the mail plane and amongst all the mail, and went up to Wellington, and he had just signed with an agency, it was like a modelling agency in Wellington, who he was like, you're doing this big series, there's a bit of buzz about it, because young guy out of Wellington Uni, out of Victoria Uni's written it, and there's a bit of buzz. And I just went in there and said, I've been acting over in Sydney, and they said, yeah, okay, and the casting agent just straight away kind of saw something and went, I want to audition him now. And so it was all a big accident. I was supposed to be going back and doing my drama school auditions, and so I was kind of in two minds. Do I go back and do NIDA, but they've kind of offered me a lead in an ensemble piece, and you don't normally pass that up. A lot of actors I talked to said, sometimes they never get that opportunity. And the good thing about that show, Happiness, was we got 5 weeks of rehearsal, 5 weeks of just playing around with the characters, with the scripts, and that was a godsend. I've never had that again on any production, and a really worthwhile exercise. It could have been one of the secrets to why, the ensemble really worked well together. We had time to grow together. The way Taika and Lauren worked Eagle vs Shark was they cast a lot of their mates, and they knew who was going to be in it, and they knew who would work well. And so it was pretty cool. Like, it was myself, Duncan Sarkis, Michael Wally, and Jason White. So a good group of actors with not a lot to do but play around, and we were allowed to ad-lib. Our ad-libs can't have been that good, because we ended up on the cutting room floor most of the time. But the first day on set, I managed to we had this really old Ford Cortina, so we were a gang, and we tormented Jared, Jermaine, and I guess he had enough torment throughout the film. They didn't need us adding to it. But on the first day, we're in this Cortina, and we're supposed to chase him down the road, and I managed to pull the gear stick clean out of the box. I was like, whoa. It was an old car, but I think they were a bit like, that guy just broke one of our most expensive props. Get him out of the driver's seat. I'd never auditioned for the show. I'd just gone in there on the backer, kind of Insider's Guide to Love and stuff, and given them a show reel, which clearly just sat on a shelf collecting dust. And I think the story that the producer at the time tells me was that, they were just searching for a new doctor, and they hadn't really found anyone, and then they went, what's that? And it was a case of, blowing the dust off this old showreel they'd received years ago. We could make something work with that. So yeah, there was no audition or anything. It was just they kind of combined what they'd seen in the showreel and somehow come out with a skateboarding, pot smoking ED doctor, which is I don't know if that's a compliment or not. But the whole experience of Shortland Street was a lot of fun, and playing a fun character was probably a blessing. I don't think I would have liked to have been on it for a couple of years playing a really nasty bad guy, because I find them quite draining. It's a modern day contemporary western, so rather than cowboys we've got farmers. So I play this rugged shearer who's the leader of the, captain of the rugby team. Just the bully, he's the town bully, he's that nasty guy. When Owen's character, the stranger in the black hat, hitchhikes, walks into town, he's there to greet him and make his life a misery for the duration of the film. I met Owen Black, who played Ethan Pearce on Shortland Street, and we met doing Shortland Street, and we both left at a similar time, and we wanted to make a feature, and he had this idea. And the big thing about it was we wanted to role reverse. So he'd played the nasty bugger in Shortland Street and I'd played the good fluffy guy. But at the end of the day, yeah, we've been working on this project for almost 3 years, and of those 3 years, only 4 weeks have we actually been acting on set doing what we love. But yeah, we've got a result now. We've got a film that's ready to be seen by the public. My uncle was in the police force and he actually knew the guy who was playing, although the guy Brett, he didn't want to meet us. He found it quite odd that people were making a movie out of this. He was a little uncomfortable with it, modest Dunedin cop. He didn't meet with us, but I could ask my uncle a couple of key things. And then the wardrobe and makeup girls were great. They went and did have a chat with him, and there was a small bit of CCTV footage of the interrogation room. So basically I took what I saw on that, and yeah, at the end of the day it was a dramatisation, but yeah, really proud of that tele-feature. Thought it did really well. It was the one job I really wanted really badly, because I knew from doing ScreenTalk's job with Bloodlines the year before that they were probably going to be getting Underbelly New Zealand coming, and it would be the real Mr. Asia, so it would be running around Auckland and platforms and flares and old, the classic cars. So I really wanted to be a part of it, and it was really cool. At the end of the day, it was a relatively small role, but quite pivotal. Like, he's the first guy to go over to Australia and try to set up things over there, and got into bed with Terry Clark, and that was a bad move. So got shot in the head. So it was quite fun doing another death scene. That was pretty intense, but it was funny. Like, whilst we were making it, I met a lady who used to party with Gregory Paul Ollard all the time, and she just went on about what a nice guy he was. So that was actually quite a help, because sometimes when you get on paper you go, okay, drug dealer, heroin addict, criminal, your mind might go one way, but I just met her and she said, oh, he was so awesome, he was the most generous guy, he had the best parties in Grey Lynn, he had barrels full of everything all the time, he was always generous, and just a lovely guy. So that was a help. So straight away it was like, well, this guy he's not nasty, he's just, the business that he's in is a bit questionable. So that was a help. So I played it a bit lighter than probably I would have otherwise. It's funny because most people think he's awful, and it's the first time I've been punched by a lady for one of the roles I've played, so that's a good compliment. She hated him so much she felt they would come and give me a dig. But the advertising guys I met think he's awesome. They're like, he's bang on, what a great guy. There was a big backstory when you get your audition, you have this character breakdown, and they haven't touched on anything really that I read and where he'd come from and stuff. So yeah, I hope he gets to have a bit more fun with the core cast.
Fun.
Yeah.